Valve is often as useless as it is complacent, but if there's one thing that company knows how to do right, it's a bloody good Steam sale. Usually. They did kinda cock the latest one up, and they've upset a number of game developers in the process. The latest Steam sale was presented as something of a game, and the rules were not clearly communicated, leading a large number of Steam users to remove games from their wishlist because they believed that doing so would maximize the chances of them getting a free game of their choice. Accompanying this year's Steam Summer Sale is an additional gimmick called the Steam Grand Prix, which takes the form of a digital race to a finish line. To take part in the Grand Prix, you choose from a number of teams that are based on animals, then you buy games on Steam and earn points for doing so. You use those points to help your team win the race. You can move your team further down the track with points, or you can use the points to hold back rival teams. But Valve ran into a little bit of a problem because, well, users can pick their own teams, so what happens if everyone picks the same team? Pretty much the same thing that happens in a lot of online shooters when people can join teams and one ends up really imbalanced. Everyone went for Team Corgi in the Steam Grand Prix. We've made some back-end changes to help mitigate some of the snowball effects we've seen that have led to Team Corgi running away with the first 2 days of the races despite their tiny legs. That's what Valve said, that was a little bit cute. We've changed some code to help deal with the imbalanced team sizes across the board. This is one of those issues that come up all the time when there's a competition in which people can choose their teams. Depending on certain factors, any team can become incredibly overpowered because everyone will swarm to that particular thing. In this case, Valve made the fatal error of, well, creating a Team Corgi in the first place. It's a Corgi. Obviously, an unbalanced number of people, an overwhelming number of people are gonna go for Team Corgi because A, it's a dog, and B, it's a Corgi. Whatever changes Valve's made have not diminished Team Corgi's success, but it has closed some of the gaps. It's no longer in such a blistering, untouchable lead, but still, it's a Corgi. It's always gonna kick the shit out of Team Pig. Poor Team Pig. Ironically, an underdog. Now, if that were the only problem with this year's Steam Summer Sale, that would be one thing. This would be a funny little story. I'd do this entire video as an excuse to make the underdog joke, but Valve cocked it up a little bit more than that thanks to some poor descriptions. You see, if you're taking part in the Steam Grand Prix and you're in the winning team, you could be randomly selected to win a game on your wishlist. The way in which earning points and contributing to your team and basically the whole way the Steam Grand Prix works is overcomplicated and users have gotten confused, and one confusing element has negatively impacted a number of game developers because they've been seeing their games disappear from users' wishlists. Valve encouraged Steam customers to update their wishlists because their most wished for games were potential prizes, which led some people to believe that if they removed games from their wishlist, if they pruned it down, they would streamline their prize pool and not risk getting a game that they didn't care for as much as something else. One such developer affected was SFB Games, who made Snipperclips, Haunt the House, and Detective Grimoire, who revealed a massive number of deletions of their games following the unveiling of the Grand Prix. Dan Hines, developer of Wildfire, has said that wishlist deletions have skyrocketed as people assume they're narrowing their prize pool down. He also points out that Wildfire isn't actually out yet, so you couldn't win it anyway. Not every game developer has noticed a problem, but a number of them certainly have, and when they have, it's been a pretty big fucking problem for them. Wishlists are important. They keep people flagged as potential customers. I, for one, use wishlists on occasion to remind myself of certain games, which is pretty important on places like Steam, where so much is released, so many games are out there, so many titles get buried, you can easily lose track of stuff. Plus, of course, when a game does get discounted, your wishlist will notify you, and if people have removed a game from their wishlist, they won't get that notification. So this big wishlist deletion spike could have a direct and nasty impact on the potential sales for a number of games. Valve has now clarified, telling people that they will get the game that is on the top of their wishlist if they are selected to win. It doesn't matter how many games are actually on your wishlist, it only matters what the first one is. But this may be too little too late for a number of indie developers who continue to struggle with the mess that is the Steam storefront. And right now, with the Epic Games Store Store continually snapping at Steam's heels, this is not something Valve needs right now. This is yet another reason why I've stressed in the past and will continue to stress that I do not blame independent developers for taking any exclusivity deal with the Epic Games Store they want. Not necessarily an understanding I extend to major AAA publishers or crowdfunded games that bait and switched, but just a regular indie dev trying to sell a game and make maybe a little bit of money for themselves, I can't blame them. It's already really hard for indie games to get noticed among all of the asset flips and the sheer volume, the sheer saturation of content on the Steam storefront. Plus there's that generous revenue split that Epic offers and has recently been trying to pressure Valve into adopting. Kotaku spoke to one developer, Yitz, who made Nepenthe and To the Dark Tower, and they said that 70-30 revenue split with Steam has had some studios operate at a loss. Most indies, who are talking about it at least, are losing more money from Steam's cut than they are taking in from visibility. They claimed, I and many other devs are currently losing money from being hosted on Steam. And that's without developers seeing their games getting deleted from wishlists due to poor communication. This is not to say Epic's track record is spotless when it comes to sales. The Epic Games Store first mega sale pissed off a number of developers by offering a store-wide discount without their input, permission, or knowledge, which in the eyes of some studios inherently devalued their games, some of which weren't even out yet. But regardless, as small games struggle more than ever on Steam to get just a shred of visibility, and even that not necessarily guaranteeing any money being made from them, Epic's deal, like it or not, is just naturally gonna look better and better to a number of companies out there. And this fuck up with the Steam Summer Sale is pretty much the last thing Valve needs right now. Maybe Valve just shouldn't try so hard in future. These little gimmicky games and things are a neat idea, but they're inherently confusing. And I think if you ask most customers, they'd say they'd prefer to just see discounts on games. I mean, that's what makes a sale good. You go to a sale to get stuff for cheap. That's all you need. That really is all you need. Apparently some people do like them, some people don't want them to go away, but it's just so complicated. It's not worth this, it's certainly not worth this. Anyway, indie developers are having a rough time on Steam. Must be a day of the week.